Hello, everybody. I want to introduce you to a dear friend of mine. Her name is Kim Groshek, and she is an elite business strategist. And she's come up with an amazing system that allows people to just stop. And I'm going to let her take it from here. She's the pause lady.
Hey everyone, and thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Sally. I don't even know where to begin. Do you want to know a little bit about where it started? I think maybe that's a good start, right?
That's a
Okay.
great way to start.
Okay. So I am a computer scientist and cognitive scientist by trade. I've done this for, I would say, ever since I was a little baby. And the reason why I say this is because my dad was a computer operator and he used to bring me to work with him. And I used to love sitting at the little keyboards and type on the keyboards and get those IBM cards and I could make all these really cool designs. It was fun. Well, I didn't realize that I was actually going to go into computer science because I was actually a fashion designer when I was in high school. And it kind of transitioned into it. In the 90s, the computers really just kind of started to form, like in desktop personal computers at home, right? And I got my first computer. And it was a really creative process for me to break fix a computer. I would actually take cards out and try to move things around in there. I'd play around with the config sys and all kinds of crazy things. So that's how I got into computer science. So from that, I actually was, I kind of kept moving up. I did probably everything in the trade. I've been at almost every single business. If you say a name of a business, I probably was there because I did transformation, change within
Mhm.
companies. I do break fixes. They would call me when no one else could fix their companies. And, and I started with social media right when it was in inception, before it even came out in the world, I was on it. And I found myself probably about 10 years ago, getting up in the morning and I would actually just be going on social media and I'd kind of go, oh my goodness, it's 6 hours later. So what I decided to do was deactivate my social media for about 6 months. And then I also disconnected from this for a whole year. And it was unusual at the time because I worked remote. I worked remote before everyone started working remote. I've traveled all over, right? Because you have to when you work at all these different companies. And I just set a process in place where my husband's phone, if people needed to call me, they would call me, but that's as much as I'd use the phone. It wasn't used for anything else. Barely used it actually. And of course, the meetings would all be done through WebEx back then. Now it's Zoom. Everyone uses different tools, right? But what I discovered while I was disconnected is that all of a sudden stress was released from my neck. And I didn't even know I had the stress. And so this pull into the systems, right? It was just pulling me without me realizing the muscle impact, right? And then I got more time back because I set up time to write. I love to write. So I would write every day for 15 minutes as just a regular thing. And it started evolving into, okay, I'm going to go out on walks and then I'm going to start running. And I started running half marathons and running I set a goal to run in all 50 states. And then I did Ironman. I learned how to swim and all kinds of things, right? So a lot of people, and so this pause kind of came up, right? I didn't label it, didn't name it pause at the time, but it started to evolve into pausing, pause, unplug. And the breathe comes in when I started to take yoga. I went to a retreat in Colorado and I learned how to meditate. And that was a pause for me to actually just be with myself without any technology because I couldn't. There was no signal anyway. And this was after, I had disconnected. This was later on. But then I started to practice meditation and practice yoga and practice all of these things. And I found every time that I would take this break away, I would actually uncover myself more and actually get more time. And in it, with all of these successful transformation efforts in these companies, I take the tools and what I've actually been successful at, which is really compressing time and getting results. And so I started putting that into play. And then I started learning about mental health. and how to manage anger and how to manage stress and how to manage my feelings, sadness, all of those things through a philosophy that Dr. Orman had founded. And it came into fruition actually just about 6 months ago. So, what I did was I created a concept called the pause power, practice a pause for 5 days and practicing it 15 minutes a day. What is the pause? It's just to take a pause away from anything that's fast and moving. Technology is one. Doing what you want to do in that 15 minutes for 5 days. And I had 300 people that signed up and participated, 42 experts to support everyone, and I was there to support everyone along the way. It was so successful that now I actually created a company in August, and here we are. And it's been an amazing journey. And there's, like you said, there's a whole framework. Companies are starting to bring it into their companies, schools, and I work directly with executives who are always on to help them, take the pause to slow down and really just be, sometimes even be bored.
So
Mhm.
my question for you is, what do you suggest for people who just literally their jobs, their situations don't allow them to pause beyond that 15 minutes, but they know that they need it? What do you suggest for them?
Right. Well, the first thing is reach out to me because I can help them incorporate that into their lives. But, companies they're seeing the value in this. And the companies are starting to bring it in and starting to support the whole effort. So there is some validation around it. But it is just the main thing is to, you can start practicing it yourself to see if you can do it. Cause I think in your mind, you'll say, I don't have time for this. In fact, I've worked with people that, they said, first of all, one person said they didn't even have their time right. Their time was all off, right? And then they said, well, now how do I fit this into another time box in my whole day, right? Because I've got already 50 time boxes in my day, right? But there's a simple way to do it. There's all kinds of way to incorporate this. You can split it up, and the one person that really struggled with trying to fit it in as a consistent measure of 15, they set a timer at the top of the hour and would walk away just for 1 minute, 1 minute. And then that added up to 15 throughout the day. It's
It
hard
can be,
to,
you're right. It can be very
right.
easy. You
Mhm.
just do it. Unfortunately, people get tunnel vision and they just got to keep hitting harder, got to keep going. And as I mentioned when I spoke with you yesterday, I am a fully recovered type A. And it took me a lot of years to do it. And my journey is not dissimilar to yours, but I do understand that this truly works, y'all. It truly works. And this is why there are so many health problems there. I mean, I had a 2 hour massage yesterday because of the neck
Mhm.
from being on the computer so much. And so this is so important for our long term life. Norman Lear passed away, and he was a firm believer in this type of thing. And he lived to be what, 101? And he was healthy the whole time.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, and I've been incorporating this. So I'm 58, and I've been incorporating this and learning how to incorporate it for about, I would say, a good 20 years, well, probably even longer, because my daughter at 35 now, when she was 3, I recognized what was going on because when I first got my computer and I was so into it, right? She would, she'd come over, that happens, right? Your child will come over by and remind you that they're there. And, she did. And it's like, I didn't realize that I was so consumed in this that I was, not spending time with, it wasn't like I wasn't spending time with her, but it was, the pull away from her. So I had to really manage that, watching myself to make sure it was always a dance, right? Just like in a long-term relationship, there's always a dance, right? Um, and then in this practice, it's more than just the 15-minute pause. Then we get into getting results, right? When you take a pause, you start realizing you get more creative and you have more space to think, right? but then you also can manage your time better to actually get results, and then you don't have things to do anymore on your calendar, so you have more time. And then you can start uncovering yourself a little more, which, there's a lot of things in your muscles and traumas and things that you can start addressing and objectively through these tools that I teach and releasing all of that, like the anger that's, there's so much anger, right? And just addressing the objectively. It's not like you're working hard at it. It's learning the tools, then the anger goes away and now you have one less thing again.
So, how can everybody get in touch with you?
It's easy. You can just my name's on the screen. It's kimgroshek.com is my website, and you can actually schedule some time with me. And I have a special for the holidays. I have a special focus on getting your finances in order and getting results. A workshop on Saturday, and you're all invited to that. And I'll also share that link as well. Well, thank you, everyone, and remember, take a pause during the holidays, especially, and every day throughout the year.